our cast. Basically, so you were talking, Tim, about your office. Where are you transmitting from into our spaceship?
Yeah, it's the starter kitchen in Kiel, where we got the opportunity to work since now 6 or 7 months. Of course, when Corona was more and more, even here in northern Germany, we had to leave the office too. But at the moment, it's possible to work some hours from here and only part-time in the home office. And yeah, it's great to stream from here.
Cool. Yeah, it's good to every now and then see a person or two, not at home all the time. So I can relate very much. So why don't we start out with our little fun fact about Blockcap before I start into our intro? What does the world need to know about Blockcap? Like a little fun fact to your story.
Yeah. One thing I always have to love about is the fact that we, like many other founders, started all this stuff from our homes. More than 1 year ago, we always met our apartments and got a little bit of stress with our girlfriends because they always had to leave when we met. It was quite rough times, so it was a real pleasure to get this office here and make the relationship a less stressful.
So you made it through, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you very much for sharing. I guess we eased into the official session already. So I want to welcome all of our listeners to our fourth edition of the blockchain marketing spaceship UFO to the Moon. Today with Tim Zölitz, and yes, we're very excited to have you. Thank you for your time, Tim.
Of course.
And yes, basically, let's keep it very short. Introduction. We'll have Lars, founder of UFOstart, myself, Mario, and Tim on the podcast today. In the background, Basti, to answer your questions. Right, if you have anything, questions, Q&A, we will answer at the end of the session. Please just write it into the chat, and Basti will take care of it. Thanks, Basti. And exactly. So very, very short from my side introduction. Blockcap is basically an interface, as I understand it, and please correct me where it's needed. Is an interface between investment projects and potential investors, small scale investors, right? Exactly, it gives kind of an access to a wider range of investment projects that would otherwise not be accessible.
Yeah.
As for the podcast, the crowdcast, we will take more or less 45 minutes and have a little Q&A session in the end. Like I said, questions please in the chat area, and if you want to follow us on crowdcast, please, on the upper right corner should be a follow button, and we will be coming up with new crowdcast every other week. All right. With that being said, Tim, why don't you tell us how you ended up in this call?
Yeah, good question. I ended up in this call because next to some other things I do with Chris in Kiel, Chris is my co-founder. We give some blockchain sessions in the Open Campus network here in Kiel. And we actually met some contacts from Lars and the guy from the blockchain sessions we lead said, hey, Lars is a cool blockchain guy from Berlin. Make contact with him. And so we got in touch, and Lars just asked me if I would like to come to this podcast. And I said, yeah, of course. And it's always interesting to speak about blockchain, about some ideas in the space. So yeah, that's how I end here.
Great idea. Thanks for being here. It's almost a little bit different, but almost as I met Lars too. there's a cool blockchain guy on an event. Yes, I need to be part of this. So
the blockchain pirates event.
Yes. On this spot. Okay, so in order for our listeners to get like an idea of what Blockcap is about and to grasp it and base our conversation on, it would be great, as we have it as a tradition here, to look at the Blockcap Golden Circle by Simon Sinek. I'm sure like our regular listeners right now already are familiar with it. But yes, the specific one from Blockcap you prepared, and we are very excited to see what it's all about.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for the first slide to start. Yeah, that's already is perfectly. So yeah, for the golden circle, I would start with the idea of why we do all this we do. And it's because with the implementation of the blockchain technology in the business world, we see a witnessing shift towards a decentralized capital market. The tokenization of underlying assets will fundamentally change how companies raise funds. That's what we are convinced of. And in order to transition to a new financial market, detached from intermediaries like banks, etc., we need to build trust and transparency for both counterparties, including companies and investors. That's why we see some potential for us to solve the problem, and why we are in the space to build this trust and the transparency. And yeah, if you guys have got any questions for that, I would continue with how we do this, how we deliver this trust and transparency. It's by creating a platform which brings together token issuers and investors. What we mean by token issuers can we configure it later. We are creating more transparency and build greater trust for all of us. Furthermore, Blockcap acts as an informational platform which provides various information from different perspectives about blockchain technology and its application for the financial market and financial industry, to create a better understanding of blockchain technology. This perspective can be various from technology side or regulatory side. And our network will enable companies in the future, as well as investors, to exploit the application and value creation of blockchain technology, especially in the financial markets. Yeah. And what we do on a daily basis is, and what we do, we'll see in the product pitch a little bit better. We understand blockchain as an interface between a wide range of investors and companies who use it the way of tokenization their assets to raise capital. We are providing information about the issue of the blockchain, about the issues of the blockchain technology in the financial service sector, and support companies in offering these issues. Our listings of the projects includes a variety of information about the terms and conditions, about the token sale, an example about the legal documents, the project, the capital is raised for, the financial structure of the company, the legal structure of the company, and all the stuff. And by providing this information, we ensure more transparency for the market, and through our platform, the investor gain a better information base to make their decisions to move the money. That's the short version of the golden circle. And yeah.
Yeah, I think this is really cool. I have a question to your transparency point and trust, how you want to create more transparency and trust. What is your feature or functionality for this?
What we can't do is delivering 100% security for any investors. We can't do this, but we can list all information about any project which an investor alone wouldn't achieve. So we collecting all legal documents from the company, trying to contact the company, check the founders, check the team behind the company, and make sure that the investor get all the information needed. We are screening documents with 200, 400 sites of legal information, which no investor would ever read. And we're trying to bring this information in a transparent way to the investors. So we are trying to find more information and collect this information listed in different documents and bring them in a nice to see way to the investors.
There are some platforms out there like CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. Do you want to use the data too, or curate the data from these platforms, or what is your?
Yeah, that's a good point. If the assets are being traded, like the projects on CoinGecko or something like this, it will be, of course, interesting to list these live data from the trading of the assets. But at the moment, the project on our page issues some assets that aren't tradable, like cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or stuff. So there are much live data we could implement to our site. There are just some few like Bitbond who are using the Stellar blockchain to issue their tokens. And on the Stellar blockchain, you got this function to trade the assets without any secondary market. But many other assets doesn't have this function. So we couldn't implement these live data from CoinGecko.
That's really cool, I think, and that's so important for the blockchain business. There are so many opportunities to invest, and today I had a call about the graph. I really love the idea of the graph project, protocol, API, whatever. But in the call, someone told me, "Hey, Lars, yes, the idea is really cool, but the founder of the project has more than 60% of all the tokens, and he never want to invest in a project where one guy has more than 60%. So, but we can get informations like this. Do you have a research team or?
Yeah. So at Blockcap we do a lot of research. It's actually needed to screen all the documents because at the moment, if you list a security token offering in Germany, you have to issue some legal documents where you find, for example, the information of who are the shareholders.
Cool.
But you have to say no, just a few investors really reads them. And it's kind of sad because the information are really, really needed. As you mentioned, I would never put my money in a project where the founder got so many shares. But you have to know it. What we don't do is saying the investor don't buy this token because there's someone holding 60% of it, but we deliver the information. So the investor has the opportunity to decide on himself if he wants to take the risk or not.
Maybe connected to this, there was also like a question. I saw the project on your website and quite interesting, right? How different they are. Just to name two of them would be the Tomorrow Bank, right? So sustainable banking, and like a ship manufacturer, right? Also connected to sustainability in some sense, but it's very, very different. So a question came up in these very different industries, like how do you source your projects and how do you start it? Is there like a standardized process that you through that you vet your project, or how does it work?
Yeah, you're completely right. The process of issue security tokens is possible for many industries, or for nearly all industries, because nearly every company could issue the security token. So it's quite rough for us to really make a rating on the companies because you're right, we can't be an expert in shipping and banking and manufacturing of something else. That's not possible. But what we could do is be an expert at the token sale. We couldn't make any rating on the company itself. We can't do this, and we aren't allowed to do this from a regulatory point of view, because that would be more or less financially advised. But we can screen the token sale on itself. And this point is often quite, there are more standards on the token base and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I didn't want to imply that you have to be an expert in all of the industries, but right, if you look at past token sales and you know, okay, these are usually the issues or the points that are the information that is needed for me for potential investors to make a more informed call, then I think that can be a great help already, right? I don't think you have to be a shipping expert to do that.
No. But what will be interesting in the future is if we get users' feedback and realize that, for example, for the shipping industry, the investor would like to get other informations, or if he wants to invest in a banking project, he wants to know more about these facts, that we can adjust in the future the different aspects of the project in a different way for every different space of markets.
Well, you could also have a let's say an actual industry expert, right? Like a known expert have a screening with their view on the project and make it more credible, right? Make some gain some credibility points on that end.
Yeah, I could imagine getting this expert, of course, yes.
One idea from my side and one last question. So when I think about, okay, there are many projects listed on your site and maybe there are the top 10 rated projects, it's a good idea to create a fund based on your top 10 list, right? To have an index to follow automatically as an investor also. Like I think in AngelList there's a feature like this. You can follow some great investors and indexes, and so maybe that's only one idea. And the question you mentioned, STOs. You have to describe STO a little bit because it was not implemented in your pitch.
Yeah.
And why it's only STO?
For guys who doesn't know really about the token economics, on the blockchain you have the possibility to make different kind of tokens. There are many classifications for tokens, but in general there are more or less 3 or 4 groups which are really important, like currency tokens, utility tokens, and security token. Security token have an underlying in comparison to, for example, Bitcoin, which would be a currency token. There's no base, but if you making security token, they have to be in real underlying asset, like in normal stock and normal it's an Anleihe, in asset in any way. And it brings many possibilities for the investors because the issuing process is a little bit more complicated in comparison to initial coin offerings like there were some years ago. Normally there were utility tokens which were issued by the companies, but nowadays when you use security tokens, you have a larger requirement of regulatory documents you have to provide, which makes it a little bit more complicated for the companies. But as an investor, you are much more safer investing in an STO in comparison to an ICO. You're not safe, but safer because, in comparison to ICOs, there were more or less no regulatory requirements. So we concentrate on the STOs to provide more credibility and more security for our investors. But in the future, we will expand our our prospect to many different token projects. There, the market is even smaller than the STO market, but there will be different non-fungible tokens that represent shares of pictures and other assets like old timers or stuff like this, or CryptoKitties was the first thing using non-fungible tokens, and all these assets we could implement on our side too.
But that's important point maybe for our audience here. From the marketing perspective, it's really important that you are flexible with your product. Yeah, if you call your company or your project STO whatever, but the the blockchain industry is changing every day or every second. We saw some ICOs, initial exchange offerings, and now you can see a little developing what is called initial decentralized exchange offerings. Maybe this is the new solution. And if you look back to the ICO hype, there are many projects, platforms, and services, and the company name is icoplatform.com or so.
Yeah.
Then you have a big problem today.
Yeah.
So, and today it's IDOs and STOs, and be flexible with your brand, and that's important.
We're trying to.
Yeah.
Cool. Should we maybe jump to your next slides, right? Because I think there were more slides explaining exactly what you guys really do.
That's some inside view on our page. If you guys visit the page, you will see some bugs left on the page, but the basics are more or less completed. If you visit our site, you were able to see different projects. As I mentioned, at the moment, it's especially security token offerings from different companies in Germany. At the beginning, you can filter them, as you know from other pages. We are very happy about feedback for our filter categories. So just tell us what categories would you like to filter the projects, which I mentioned on the front page. Maybe you can go one slide further. There you can see an inside view of the project. Every project got different pages and different sections. You start with an overview about the project. We try to split between the project, which is finance, and the company behind the project. It always depends on how much information we can find, but we try to give you an overview, pitch some things about the company, about the legal structure, about the token sale, about the financial situation. On another page, we list all the regulatory documents, and this slide shows the token sale. And on another slide, we would show you the tokenomics behind the security token offering. So that's how a project is listed on our page. How much you can find is always depending on how much information we can provide, because we only list informations that we really rely on, which source are in legal documents. So yeah, the project could be some kind of changing.
Can I ask you, what is your business model?
Yeah, of course. We will get paid by the projects who are listed on our site. It's a more or less fixed listing fee. It of course depends on the traffic we can generate for the project. So we are like a promotion platform, a neutral one, and without selling the projects directly to the investors, we can get more or less an affiliate fee for people who go to the STO about our site. Like there are two main points: affiliate and listing fees.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, probably, or tell me, do you have any or what are your plans on creating this investor community, right? That the project would ideally, so if I think about it, would make sense from a project to have this access to a dedicated, trusted investor kind of community. Is that something that you're planning on cultivating, and if so, how?
There are different points. Of course, we want to provide content about the topic from the roots of. We really think that not many people know about the opportunity from security token offerings. So we try to start at the beginning by providing content about this topic, and so people get in touch with Blockcap as an information provider. That would be the first step. And then we will try to make online events like you know it from IPOs in the classical financial way. You would call it roadshows, where project shows their new IPOs, and we are trying to cultivate such events in an online base. That's one way.
And then we need a digital version to ring the bell for the IPO.
We can try to implement if you like to.
Yeah. It'll be then. It's always it's a good way to get people interested in roadshows and events and everything. But the juice is in how to contain them, how to engage them over time, right? Not only get this one point of attention, but to keep it and keep it up and keep it interesting, because everyone is grabbing for their attention. And these community, everyone also in other industries, everyone is talking about community, but where there's actually a strong community, it's quite few percentage-wise of those who claim to have one.
Completely right. We are trying to implement some kind of newsletters and giving the people insights to projects, like talking to the people behind the projects. There are some corporates who do the security token offerings for the company issuing the tokens. For example, the Nebo in Hamburg. And we try to make contact with them, give them interviews, and all this content investors normally wouldn't get and should be provided. So they find information they wouldn't find somewhere else on Blockcap, and so we try to bind them on our platform. But you are right, that will be the hardest part, to firstly get them to our platform and doesn't make them leave. And it of course depends on the project we are listing. If there will be 10 projects which all make the investor lose their money, our platform is shit. That's clear. So we have to make sure that the project we are listing brings value to the investors. That would be
from my point of view. When I looked at it, I was quite impressed. What was speaking to me personally was it seems like the first two projects that I clicked on was Tomorrow and this shipping company, both in sustainable topics, right? With fuel reduction on the ship project. So I was quite okay. This is an area that you're consciously going deeper into, or is that kind of a coincidence?
It's not like we really focused on this topic. I can't say that now.
Okay. Maybe with one question, because it's very interesting, right? We have so many different people with such different backgrounds here, and it's just interesting to know when and how did you get in touch with a topic of blockchain at all, right? In the first place, since your life is centered around this topic now, right? And you have to figure out some deals with the girlfriends and everything. So how did you end up here? What was this point where it hit you?
I actually came in touch with blockchain about Bitcoin and Ethereum, like I think many in the space. It was 4 years ago when I was 17 and heading to the gym. It was in February 2017 that the price already began to rise up. It was far away from its 20K, but there were already some marketing campaign, and I see a big advertising in the city of Neumünster, where was a big sign of buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yeah, I really thought, oh, what's this? Sounds scary. What shit?
Sounds scary. I need to know more.
Yeah. Yeah, but at this point, I think for some months I didn't touch the topic again, but it was 2 years ago when I realized the moment. There was already time before my really introduction to blockchain when I already heard about Bitcoin. So half year later, I didn't really know how I came back to the topic, but I think there was an advertisement on Instagram or YouTube or something like that about Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I got to YouTube watching some videos. I couldn't tell you what was the first thing I saw. It was on social media. And yeah, since then, it doesn't let me sleep calm. I watched different videos, bought some books back in 2017, 2018. Yeah, spent many hours on getting more information.
Slowly getting deeper into it. Yes, triggered by advertisement, and then getting informing more and more until you came to the conclusion you need to build a company around this technology.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I started with a blog in the early days to provide more information about blockchain. That was actually the start of this. But then the idea of Blockcap came 1 year ago, and yeah.
Funny with the blog, it's the last thing I'll say because it just fits with the information that was kind of a little bit similar to my process. I thought, okay, I need to know more about this, right? And probably more people don't understand enough about this. So I bought a domain, and I think I still have it. It's the Blockchain Bible. And the idea would have been to just everything that I researched for myself, just put it into a wiki, a blockchain wiki. But then in the end, as it is with these kind of projects, I didn't actually write everything down. But it's interesting.
But I have to say it was great to get deeper into the topic for myself. So it was really helpful to provide this information for others. So you get deeper into it yourself. It was great.
But there's a really important advice from my side. Every project which is doing ads on YouTube or so, mostly it's not the best project. So all the beginners, they ask me, hey Lars, I saw an ad on YouTube. Is it a great project? And oh no, my God. That's, yeah. And the really cool projects, they are not doing ads on YouTube or so. Yeah, they are working on their solution, and they want to create value. And yeah,
that's right. Was my luck to come in touch with the topic, but
yeah, big luck.
Yeah,
cool. Well, what about this is, I mean, since you started, right? You gave us like the intro to how you ended up here. And as we all know, like the creation of a company, of an idea, of a project is riddled with ups and downs, and good days and not so good days. So one question that keeps on giving good answers is what was your biggest challenge on the way until now, and maybe what can you see is like a challenge for you in the future?
Yeah. Of course, there are big challenges connecting to the market we are in. It's a steady growing but still very small market, which makes some things harder for us. So there are just a few projects we could list, less feedback we can get by investors because not many people know this. So that's, of course, one big challenge for us in the future to solve this. We have to make people know about this topic. But in the past, it was quite hard to solve this. Of course, there were some legal uncertainties due to the lack of regulations for digital assets. That makes it even harder sometimes. And inside our company, of course, it isn't always easy to see the main things and to know what to do at this moment and what's important at the moment. And of course, we did some things, which where you think afterwards, so why did we spend so much time on this? That's not important. I think that's a problem nearly every company faces, to know what to do at what time. But we hopefully got better at this and we'll do it better in the future.
Thank you for sharing. Let's see. Is there any other type of blockchain project at the moment that you're very excited about or interested to see, that you're following, right? It's something you're maybe invested in, or what's except for your own project is getting you excited?
Of course, there are the main cryptocurrencies, which still excites, Bitcoin, Ethereum. I'm invested in this and still love it. But of course, there are some more interesting ones, like smaller projects, but still big ones like Stellar Lumens or stuff. But if you go more deeper in it, what really fascinates me in the past couple of months is the DeFi market. The way how you can get revenue by doing liquidity mining and stuff. It's quite interesting for new people who didn't get in touch with blockchain before. Quite rough to understand where the revenues come from, how this all works. But very interesting for me, the DeFi space. Different projects.
I can agree. Any specific one that you like most?
No, not really. I think they're all interesting because I'm from Germany. Many of you guys will know Julian Hosp, who launched the DeFi chain. I looked at this quite a long time, but there are many others with even maybe greater solutions or same solutions. So
I really like the Berlin-based Bitwala project. It's a combination of a standard bank account plus your own custodian wallet. They are not hosting your fees. They are not the custodian, and I really love the idea of Bitwala. And maybe one information. Yesterday I had a call with an interesting guy, the founder of Crypto Studio, and maybe it's a good approach for you. He mentioned, I put it in the chat for the audience too, Crypto Studio. He mentioned the blockchain industry is so techy, it's a big problem for beginners to use it. And his vision is to set up the platform for blockchain beginners, and that they understand the DeFi possibilities here, the lending possibilities, that you can earn money with your money, that here are interest rates and staking and lending, and it's really easy. You don't have to understand the whole blockchain world. So, and his approach is set up a platform for every, standard people? No, not for the early adopters, for the whole majority. So,
it's really cool. And to several of the projects for example, I'm a big fan of Nexo. I became a big fan because it gives an incentive to earn money, not only with the crypto, but with fiat money too. So I recommended to friends of mine already, hey, why don't you don't have to get into the crypto space, but you can use it to earn interest on your fiat money at all if you don't do anything with it. And then what is then true is they start informing themselves because they see it all the time, and it's like, it's kind of an easy pull into the crypto sphere. But then obviously this should be fueled or built on a foundation of information, and not just shifting money over without information. So I really love the Crypto Studio project.
Yeah. And of course, many different fields where I'm really looking at. There's no specific company I got in my head, but the field of providing a solution for the Oracle problem. So smart contracts get a better database. I think Chainlink is already working on that quite good, but not sure if they get through. But I think that could enable smart contracts to use their full potential. And I think it's quite important in the future to get these oracles to connect to the real world. So
Chainlink has many partnerships, and they are implemented in so many real world projects too, in the cloud, in the Google Cloud, I think too. They are implemented, and there are coming some more competitors for the idea. One is the Graph project, what I mentioned before, or one point is a band protocol. I don't know. So, and it's one important point. And only to add this feature too for Bitwala team again, they implemented the Celsius network, and on Bitwala you can earn interest rate on Bitcoin too. So it's based on Celsius, and Celsius is one of the DeFi protocols for interest rates, or what is it? A staking interest? What we can call it? I don't know.
If it's Bitcoin,
it's not staking.
No, will be lending.
It's lending. Okay. Yeah. So we can tell it rewards.
Yeah.
So it's really funny when I asked my tax guy, the answer was, "Oh, Lars, there's no legal framework for this. We have to wait."
It's quite rough to handle this. Yeah, and there are many visions which really excite me about blockchain. I talked to Yannick Heinze from Chain Salting from Schleswig in northern Germany. And they're building different blockchain projects, and one consults the government of an African state. And the state, I'm not sure which it's what, but they try to provide a payment system based on blockchain. And they're working on this. And I think in these so-called third worlds, there's so many cool use cases we couldn't think of right now, but will be there in the future. And I think that will be a wild field to watch it in the future.
Oh, we need the contact of this guy, because one of our clients, Authentic Network, they are active in South Africa and so on too. They have a security layer for Medizinpackung. And maybe it's they can.
I will tell you later. Yeah,
connect the guys. Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, guys, we're almost at the end of our 45 minutes, so we want to keep it more or less in this range. Lars, do you have still a question that you want to shoot to Tim, or Tim, do you still have something that is burning on your chest that you that you need to get out? And now is the time to do so.
From my side, not now. I'm feeling free.
All right, Lars?
No questions at all. What can we ask you?
We did have before. We had a question in our ask a question section, but it miraculously disappeared. But if I remember correctly, It was about how do you get in touch with the projects that are basically listed on your page. How do you find them? What is your kind of screening process? More like kind of right now in the beginning, a personal connection? Is it, how do you support?
Totally different from project to project. Some projects we find on databases in the internet, on articles from the regulatory authority and the BaFin in Germany, who approve the legal documents. So sometimes they are writing an article about these projects. Then some projects we got told about by different guys here in Kiel, from other guys from other calls, by researching on ourselves in the blockchain space. So there's no strict way for us.
Okay, so and are you then, just fun thing, are you then in touch with them personally, or is it also like projects that are just open and you collect information and you show them on your site?
That's different too. For the half of the project, we are in personal contact, sometimes emails, sometimes calls, and some projects we just list without a personal contract, which will follow up in the few weeks. So the goal is, of course, to get in direct contact with the projects, But we trying to bring them already some kind of impressions on our page before we get in contact. So there's
obviously it makes total sense, right? If it's a public project, why not take it on? If it's, for example, tomorrow, I suppose that's quite big. So thanks for the info. Any other questions, audience? All right, then I would say we wrap it up. And Tim, thank you very much for joining our little UFO spaceship session here, number 4. It was a pleasure having you.
Thanks for the invitation.
And we will be absolutely, so I'm talking for myself, I will absolutely be looking at what great projects will be on your page on Blockcap, because there was quite talking to me personally in the sustainability area already. So very happy to see more of that.
Great. Thanks for inviting me.
Sure. Then for all the others, also thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow us for the next crowdcast, who maybe Lars, you can say 1-2 words about it, because it is set already in 2 weeks. And who are we having?
We will have Andrei Haman from Bulgaria. He founded some years ago, I think it was via the ICO hype, the Metamorph idea. It's a digital blockchain-based accelerator, but then he lost a little bit the traction. But he is the founder and CEO of Hypergrowth Agency, a blockchain marketing agency. So it's really close to our business. And today we had a call about blockchain marketing. It's really, really interesting what's coming up here in the future. And Andre will join next week. No, in 2 weeks. So
2 weeks, yes. 3rd of March.
Okay, right. Tim. Good luck.
Yes.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.